Okay, let's see about this proof. One thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in information into the diagram to make it easier to see what they're telling us. They're saying that CB is perpendicular to BD. CB is perpendicular to BD. And so we've got this right angle here. Okay? And they're also saying that DE is perpendicular to EC. So we've got this right angle here. We also know that CB is congruent to DE. So we've got this right here. Okay? So that's all given information that's stated in one. Okay? They say that CBD, angle CBD, right here, and DEC are right angles, right? I put the marks in, but we need to establish that by saying definition of perpendicular segments. If they said they're perpendicular, then we know they're making right angles, okay? And now we know that CBD is congruent to DEC. And how do we say that? This is where we say that, type it, all right angles are congruent. Yep. And that's how we can establish now that those angles are congruent. So even though they're right angles, we really want to see them as just as being congruent now because we established that. CD is congruent to CD. That is this right here. It's congruent to itself. Okay. And that is the reflexive property of congruence. So I'll type that. Reflexive property of congruence. Yep. And then it says the triangles are congruent and how. So let's see what we're dealing with right now. In this case, we know that this triangle right here is a right triangle. Okay? It's a right triangle, and we know, and so is this, and we know that one of the legs of the right triangle, we know it's a leg because it's forming the 90-degree angle, right? One of the legs is congruent on this one and this one. And we also know that that side opposite the right angle, the hypotenuse, is also congruent. If you have a leg congruent and the hypotenuse congruent in two right triangles, then by the hypotenuse leg theorem, the hypotenuse leg and we can shorten that to be HL theorem. That's how we know that that's true, okay? Hypotenuse leg says that if you have two right triangles, and I'm using this new tool where I cut stuff out based on the lines that I draw. So let's draw this, and that, and that, and pull that triangle aside. You can see if I was to erase the this middle line to kind of just make it easier to see what triangle we're talking about. Okay, we have the hypotenuse right here and one of the legs. Okay, and if I took the other triangle, and I'll cut it out using my same tool. Let me do it again. Sorry, I didn't get it quite there. There you go. That one, and we erased that middle line. You'd see that on both of these, and I can rotate them, maybe to make it easier to see. We've got, first of all, it's got to be a right triangle. That's an important part of it. And we've got one of the legs and the hypotenuse congruent, hypotenuse leg.